Hi, folks. It looks like we're live. It's Bradley J and the Bradley J Show, and we have a special guest today, Ruthie Treadwell, and we'll tell you more about her later. But we want to get to the event, the meat of this biscuit, right away because I know people don't stay very long here or anywhere online. So, Ruthie, tell us about this Emerge Contemporary Art event coming up, and get right to the guitar part.
Okay, great. So we have an event for my nonprofit that I started with a group of people. And it's for art and music, and it's called Emerge Contemporary Art, and it's from Boston. In our event, it's actually a 15-year anniversary, is coming up June 11th at the ICA, Institute of Contemporary Art in Boston Seaport. It's going to be an event starting at 6 o'clock at night. It's, like I said, music, art, amazing fashion show by designer Yaz, his fashion brand Urban Pigeons, and be quite an event. And it is sponsored by Gibson Guitar.
Okay. Urban Pigeons, interesting name. That seems redundant, right? Because there are not a lot of rural pigeons. Just want to point that out. But that's kind of a Larry David observation, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
So what is the purpose of the program, Emerge Contemporary Art? As I understand it, briefly, and we'll get into your history, which is extremely interesting a little bit later, but through your time being mentored by extremely famous artists who made a lot of money, you learned how to make money with art, and later on in life you found that people who go to school to learn to be artists graduate without any idea how to make money with their art. You figured, I'm going to help these people, and this is related to that, this Emerge Contemporary Art. You basically, if this is part of showing people how to make a career out of their art, right?
Correct. So it's for emerging artists that want to get going and find their way of how they're going to make a successful career that's sustainable with art. Because, it's sad that the statistics are, it's like 90-something% of students coming out of art schools and music schools are not going in their career paths that they went to school with, and they're not in the art fields and music fields. So just by so my background is, I had an internship when I was 17 with some very famous people in the art world. And I was very lucky because I was exposed to the ways that they could find a way to get their niche. But moving along in my life, I've met so many students and they really don't know what they're doing after school. And they're typically seniors in college. So they say like, well, you need a CV. How do I get that? If no one, you have to start here. Well, how do we get there? So I've been helping students for the last 15 years, teaching them in all different ways and also business things with the art and music industries, how to get going successfully and sustainably.
Okay. Now, part of it, we'll get to more about your past and about art itself, but I want to bring up this guitar. You can bid on at least one Gibson Les Paul, right, that has your artwork on it. And your artwork is fantastic, by the way.
Thank you so much.
You are the real deal.
Yeah, right?
How does someone get involved with bidding on these guitars? Because I know people who probably would bid on Les Paul Gibson. That's my guitar. I only have one guitar.
Okay.
Mine's a studio. It's just brown. How do you bid on a fancy one with your artwork on it?
Well, so when the guitars are finished, and we have 6 of them, so there are 6 in the collection, and I'll be putting out like a press release and pictures to those guitars and see what happens with that. This is the first time that we've done this. So, like anything, it's step by step,
so
day
at
by
these
day.
events, how do you got to go to the event, and is it you mail in a bid, or is it an auction where you shout out like an old school auction? How do you bid on it?
So I'm going to have it on the website, and that's
I see.
something that we're working on right now.
Okay. Very cool. So you don't even really need to go to the thing. You can go to the website and bid.
Right, but you want to go to the event because
You want to go to the event.
A fabulous party.
But if you were, like in California and you couldn't, you could still bid on the guitar,
Yes, you could.
or if you were in a foreign country. So what's
Yes.
going to happen at the event? What can the folks who go expect to see at the event?
So at the ICA, we're having a red carpet, photographs, photography. When you walk in, music. There'll be live music, and working with students from Berkeley right now. So Berkeley students, other emerging artists. We have Bridge Bender.
Yeah, that's my band.
You like my shirt? You didn't notice my
Oh,
shirt?
you made that shirt? Oh my God, I didn't even notice that. How did you make that shirt so?
Hey, you're
That's
an
this.
icon.
That is the logo made by Future Susie, the singer in my band Bridge Bender. And you made that T-shirt like at your house?
Yeah,
What do you have
possible if you're creative.
I guess so. I feel you make me feel you make me feel lazy. Like
Why?
I don't get much done. I don't see how you do all the stuff you do.
I know, right? Well,
So let me see the shirt. Come on. So that is cool. So you have these like a.
yeah.
I wish I could. We all have our skills. I can do video, but I
Well,
don't know how
someone
to make.
has skills. This is a fabulous logo, by the way. I love this art on here. The colors, everything. I think it's amazing. Whoever
Yeah.
did it.
So I have submit. Yeah. So you might be able to hear music from my band as part of the thing. If bands do submit music, how does that work? Is their music played along with the showing of the art, or you don't know yet? You haven't figured out how that's going to
With
go.
the showing of the art, definitely. I think they go
Okay.
hand in hand. And I wanted it to be like more going back to like old school, like New York. And when I landed in New York, that's how I was like immersed into the arts, was like you always combined art and music, and a party and music, and like no one's sitting down, everyone's standing up and having cocktails and fun.
Right. Like an old school Manhattan
Yes.
art show, art opening.
Yes. Has to be fun.
Okay, and this is at the ICA. When is it?
June 11th at 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
And you're
Brady
going
Seaport.
to see all kinds of art from emerging artists
Mhm.
and hear music from emerging artists.
Correct.
And that's it says there's going to be some fancy cocktails available, craft
Yes.
cocktails created by mixologists, which is always nice, and some hot hors d'oeuvres and creative appetizer plates. So it's what it is it's going to be an awesome excuse to get out, see some art, hear some music, and the guitars will they be on display there? That's
Yes.
the thing. That's
Right
the
in the
big thing, right? That's
Yeah.
the big draw. Your
That's the big
artwork is like I've seen an example of your artwork on a guitar, and it blows me away. Well, you did the one with Raquel Welch on it, right?
Yes.
That is unbelievable.
It's
By the
cool,
way, who
right?
took that photo? That's a beautiful photo.
It's an iconic photo. Like I took it from online.
No, the photo
No.
of the entire photo of the person holding the guitar.
Oh. I had that as a stock photo, and I did that quickly to get Gibson's attention.
So you
That's how
cobbled
we
that
get
together with Photoshop, right?
Yep.
You are so
Attention.
good. Okay. So it's Emerge. This is cool, everybody. Mark this on your calendar. June 11. Should be a nice warm day, 6
Yeah.
to 10 p.m. over at the ICA. And if you live in town, you don't drive like me, it's easy to get there by public transportation or an Uber. And that should be an event I hope to go. Now, it's important to talk about your history, and it's important to talk about that to see what you've learned. And I can give the brief history because I can do it quickly. You worked when you were a super youngster. You were part of Andy Warhol's crew. It must be, excuse me, must be a bummer to say that over and over, and it also must be a bummer to be defined by that, because a lot of times, like May Pang is defined by John Lennon. We don't want you to be defined by Warhol, but you did learn a lot. You learned about how to be successful at art, and not with just Warhol, but a bunch of other artists. And Leo Castelli, the art dealer, you learned how to make money. You have this unbelievably valuable knowledge and skill, make money with art, and you're working hard to pass it on to kids who get nothing. Well, first, let me ask you, do you think the whole college system for art is stupid. I mean, if kids can graduate not knowing what they need to know, it seems like a scam. Couldn't kids learn all they need to know without going to college and incurring a bunch of debt?
Yeah. Yeah.
They could.
Pretty much.
So,
Yeah.
so kids, parents, future parents, if you're going to go the parent route, know this. This is an alley where you don't have to go to college. It's kind of like broadcasting. There are people that figured you had to go to school to learn broadcasting. You completely don't. Completely not. Absolutely not. I can teach you everything you need to know in about, I don't know, a month. And then after that, it's just practice with people going over your tapes. There are a lot more skills involved with art, a lot more to learn. But still, you could take courses of all kinds without getting in a bunch of debt. You agree with that, right?
Absolutely do. Yeah.
What are some of the things that don't get taught in college when it comes to art?
Business.
Besides how to make a living, but you specifically, they didn't even know how to make excuse me, a CV.
No, they don't. They didn't know what it was.
That's so insane.
No,
And
they
they
don't know what it
graduate with like a minimum of 100 grand in debt.
Oh yeah, and these are top schools. I was explaining to you before. So I was working out of a gallery on Newbury Street in Boston a few years back, and students used to come in and say, "How do I get into a gallery like this? How do I or why is that painting this much money and that painting's that much money?" I'm like, where do you guys go to school? These were the top schools in Boston. So, and what year are you graduating? Oh, I'm graduating like next month. I said, you don't have any business courses? You don't have they didn't teach you how to write a CV or any of the legalities of it or the different areas you can go into in art besides being a fine artist or nothing. It's crazy.
Seems like such a scam. College seems more and more like a scam. Like if you need to be a mechanical engineer, you got to go to mechanical engineer school, I guess. And it is good to have, stuff like mechanical engineering or being a doctor. It's good to have people take exams and, get checked off on certain stuff. But not when you're an artist, when the only thing that matters is the product and the process. It doesn't, it's not mechanical engineering. It's just, it's different. Okay.
Yeah.
So give us a little more about what you learned and how you learned it. Now, we will talk about Warhol because of his process. It's pretty interesting. What did you learn about from working with the dude when it comes to the stuff you teach the kids?
So it's always
you worked
about
with them for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. So
Long
I
time.
interrupted. Go ahead.
That's okay. It's all good. I mean, and if you look at it, his stuff is basically a simple process. He used the photo silkscreen process, which back then was a little different, but it was something that I had just been doing in high school before I met him. So it was interesting. All he did really is, the color and things. It was just a great color sense. Preparing the artwork, the photographs, and a lot of the photographs he used from other means. Some work came right out of the newspaper and magazines when he first started. So as much it's a basic, and a lot of the arts is can be very personable and social is important. That was a big aspect of what he did and what Leo Castelli did in promoting other artists. And I think that that's important, and that's what I'm trying to do now. But I do think in my case too, it was when you learn while doing, at least for me, that's a great way to learn. So I think that things like, and I hate the word internship, but internships are so important, to learn while doing and then you start to build your sphere of influence. Obviously that's what I was able to do.
Internship or simply entry-level job, getting paid a few bucks to do the thing. Like we used to call that getting an entry-level job, and you did the grunt work and you sorry, tickle in my throat. Yeah, you start at the bottom and you learn what's going on. It's I'm not qualified to talk about art really, but it does seem you take that Warhol took stuff that already kind of existed and
Hmm.
basically stuck a frame around it and changed it a little bit somehow,
Hmm.
and that's where the magic happened. And uh, this brings me to this next strange question, and you're the person to ask this, and I've been wondering about this for a long time. Around here, there's a place called Brighton, and when I walk, I used to do a lot of walking before I got COVID, and I would walk from Brookline to Davis Square, which is like 4.5 miles. Have a couple
Hmm.
of beers at Sligo, and then walk back, making a nice 9 mile walk. Every time I do that, I walk over the Mass Pike on that footbridge, which has got a lot of graffiti on it. Goes over the Mass Pike into Alston, and on the bridge, somebody made a stencil that says "not art," and they spray "not art" on stuff. And it occurs to me, depending on your definition of art, that anything that you spray "not art" on becomes art. What do you think?
I mean, there's also a fine line between,
Technically speaking,
yeah, but
what is the
honest,
line? Okay, this is good. What is the line?
there's a line where it's like a little bit of like mischievous, like,
Okay, if
I
you
mean,
put a
that's the whole
toaster,
thing with graffiti. There's good graffiti, there's bad graffiti, and
yeah, but
all the
no, but not that. I'm talking about. You take a toaster. A toaster is just a toaster. But if you stencil "not art" on it, then it becomes art. You could make the case, right?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all in your
It changes the whole
you
thing of what the
want to put
toaster is.
something
If
on
you
it,
put,
right? Your artist statement. Let's see what would go with that.
for some reason, I think if you stenciled art on it, it would not be art. But somehow saying "not art" is different. And I'm sure that like, if you go to art school and you speak to artists all the time, ad nauseum about where the line is,
Yeah.
to me, and I don't. To me, the line is kind of there, and I don't exactly have the tools to explain why. So, uh, you did the 10 years with in New York. Tell me more about the time in New York.
So New York. So I went to New York when I was 17, right out of high school, and I was introduced by Andy Warhol from a neighbor from Maine who was going to New York. And before this, okay, back a little bit. So right after I graduated high school, I went to the island in Maine where my family had a summer house. Next door was someone lived that was from a famous art family. It was Jamie Wyeth, Andrew Wyeth's son. And he and my mother were talking, and he's like, "Well, where's Ruthie going to school?" And she said Parsons, and we're, oh, nice. Where's she going to live? And she said Union Square West. And he said, "Well, I'm going to be there." So it was right across the street from where I was living was Andy Warhol's factory, because Jamie Wyeth had a project earlier with Warhol, and they had a meeting, and he brought me to the meeting, and that was interesting. And I was asked to if I wanted to work with them, so I did. I said, "Yeah,
So you
sure."
met a bunch of. Who else did you meet? You must have met
Oh my God,
all
everybody!
kinds of people.
I can
Pretty.
write a list,
How
but
about music people? How about music people?
a lot. Mick Jagger, Diana Ross.
How about Lou Reed?
I did not meet Lou Reed. No.
Because he's a New York dude. Who
Yeah,
else?
did not meet him. Well, at the time, it's like some of the new artists coming out, like Madonna. Oh, Debbie Harry.
Debbie Harry.
Love her. Yeah, she's the best.
So
Uh,
what years were these? 80s?
1981 through 95, almost 96.
Yeah, 81 for me. 79 to 81 is the best music time. So
Yeah.
so Deborah Harry was pretty new at the time.
Well, she had been out for a while. Remember, she had
Yeah.
done a lot of things, and there was a movie like before I even got there. It was from American Gigolo, so that she was back, like in the being played all over the place again. So
Okay.
I mean, she's iconic. So I thought that was really cool to meet her.
And
Uh,
so you were going to school, you attended classes, and then you would work part
yeah,
time. And what do
would
you have
work.
you doing? Spraying stuff or
I did a lot
stretching
of
stuff?
Yeah, I did a lot of canvas work, like prepping the canvases for these photo silk screens. I did a lot of stuff with running errands, like going to this print shop that made the images photo ready for this process. I did a lot of that. And I would assist, like they would have, like he would give interviews and people would come in and they wanted like water or things like that, and I'd sit there and just take it all in. It was interesting.
Now, one thing that you must have learned work ethic, and you must have learned, I think, most importantly, and I talked to you about this before, is don't overthink the stuff. Just do it, make it, crank it out, and don't sweat what the critics say, and don't wait around to hear what the critics say. Make it, then just make more, and then just make more, and and keep on cranking, and don't worry about how it's received. I mean, on the one hand, I know Warhol kind of used to say that. On the other hand, I know he was very sensitive, so there's a difficult dichotomy there. But you seem, but the thing is to be prolific, and you seem to have learned that lesson. Do you teach that to the kids? It's just shut up and make art.
No, I think I'm more like focus on what you like to do, what you love to do. I mean, come on, we've heard that a million times, but it's true. And just do the best you can at what you're doing. And I never, in my cases, I try to teach people it's not about the money or whatever, that stuff. If you focus on that, you killed it.
Right.
It's not what it's about, really. If that's what's meant to be, that comes. And always like, I like to look for new things. I like to walk away from it too. You got to know when you need to walk away
Yeah.
and get inspiration. Just go say, I'm just doing something else. Like I'm going to go do this.
Right.
And that always gives me like I could be driving my car and in traffic and look at the car in front of me and think, oh, that's a weird bumper sticker or whatever. And then I think of these things.
So you brought up that kids asked, how do I know how much to charge for my work? They go to a gallery and they asked you, how come that painting's that and that painting's that? And you said, well, you didn't learn that, or you have no clue about that? Well, I don't have a clue about that either. What's the answer to that? How do you know how much?
So
what makes one thing? It's only supply and demand. So how do you know?
Right. Well, and it's like when you start out at like with many things, even music, and you play music or you're like painting and you're younger and you're in a library show or in a school show. I mean, that's the starting of you with a public display, yada, yada, yada. Who did you study with? That's huge too. That's important. Who did you study with? Where did you work? Did you win any awards? And these are things that like these kids that would come into the gallery, I would ask them these questions because they would ask about how much, why is that so much or whatever. And those questions they had never been asked. So I said, didn't they have you create like CVs in school or anything like that? And they said no. I said, what was your actual major? And I remember these kids one time, they're like, oh, fine art, painting. And I said, so then you really should have this down. You really should know that. They didn't teach you that. No, they didn't. So
wow. So it's a lot of it's not about the work. It's about the provenance behind the work in terms of the artist. Like, who are you? Who did you work with? Right. Not so much about the work.
Oh, it is about the work too. I mean, it has to be like aesthetically, like to me, means something. And it is to the eye of the beholder. I mean, not everybody's going to love this or love that. I think it's also professionalism. I tell these kids, like, if you come in with something like a painting and it's all like still wet, it's got this on the, like, you know what? That's messy and sloppy. It's like, make it professional. Be proud. Make it beautiful. Presentation is a lot of it. Right. How you act. You just don't go run and say, "Oh, look at my stuff. Look at my stuff." No. You gotta think it out.
All right. Let's get back to the event and remind folks once again. That's redundant. Remind folks why we're here. It's called Emerge Contemporary Art. It's a thing that's been going on for 15 years or so, and you're involved now. The ICA, the Institute of Contemporary Art. Mm-hmm. It's a cool show. Old school, cool music, art, fashion show. And you can bid on a guitar with artwork by you. People you it's difficult for me to make you understand how spectacular an artist and how spectacular these guitars look. It's unbelievable. If I could afford, well, maybe I'll put a bid in on one and have it be low. Who knows? Now that I know how you make it and that the art won't rub off. Oh, we didn't talk about that. What's the process that you use to get the art on the guitar? It's so this is important because I think a player might think, oh, somebody painted on the guitar. When I play it, it's going to rub off. Oh no, it's not like that. It's manufactured with the art in it, with the shiny protective stuff on the outside. What's the process on how they do the guitar?
So I've done that artwork separately and then sent it to, like, I'm working with Gibson Guitar. So they have people that are putting this together, because remember too, you have to take the guitar and it's disassembled because you can't have all the components on it.
Right.
It needs to be a flat surface, yada yada. I don't want to fool around with that. You got to do it right. Like I said, it's all in the presentation and da 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 da. I don't want a craft piece. We need this professionally done, and they offered to do all that. So I'm really, really so like honored to be working with them and have them do this.
Okay, and this is located. It's manufactured in the Nashville factory.
Yes, it is. It's in Nashville, Tennessee, and they this division that's them doing this with is actually Gibson Gives, because they want to help like nonprofits. And it's Gibson Guitar. So these are Les Paul guitars, electric guitars, and they're going to be fabulous. And as pieces of art, when you walk into the event, they're going to be displayed.
And see, that's going to be awesome. Yeah, people who are guitar freaks got to go see this.
Gotta go see it.
At least get pictures of these guitars. Imagine that. I wonder how they're going to go for crazy money. I bet, but you never know. It's the other thing. And it says a nonprofit. Does that mean that this is a tax? If you buy a guitar, does that make it tax free? I don't know the rules on that. Do you?
So I think that the rules are, so if it's something tangible like that, we are a 501c3 recognized by the IRS as an educational organization. And so if you buy a guitar, so the guitar is worth this much, if they bid that much, there's a percentage, a large portion of it. It's all, it's a tax write-off.
So some of it may be tax deductible.
Well, let's say like if the guitar costs, let's say $1,000 and someone bids $10,000 of it, I believe they get a little more than $9,000 as a tax donation to a nonprofit in the arts, and which please bid.
Okay. And again, this is on this will be online. So even if you are not able to go to this fun event, you'll be able to see these and bid on them, because there are people. I do know people that are a lot of guitar freaks who would spend stupid money. I mean, a lot of money on a guitar. I shouldn't say stupid money. I got to give you huge credit for being a go-getter. You're the one who got Gibson involved. They didn't just show up. You went out there and got them involved.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. But you know what? Here's my thing. So another thing I learned from Warhol and working with Warhol was, like, again, once I said, it's not about you. So when you think of things, you got to think of, well, if I did this, and I always collaborate because it's so right in so many levels, and it just works out better for everybody. So my thing is the way you approach things.
Yeah. Sometimes though, working with people can be such a pain, right? That's just part of the thing.
Oh yeah. But
you're a big collaborator. Sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
No. But you have to be. And my thing is thinking like the art and the music. What is a better way to meld the two together to have some product is art and music. Take an instrument and put the designs on it that have to make sense. And all the designs make sense. And I'll explain that later because I can't give everything away yet.
Right. You're a genius, and you have high energy. You're the complete machine.
But the thing is like, to me, I don't like asking for things. I don't want to go around and be like, knock, Bank of America, I'd like money for sponsorship. It needs to be like,
Well, instead of saying, instead of
America.
saying, here's what you can do for me, you say, here's what I can do for you.
Right. So with Gibson, what am I doing for them? I'm putting their guitars out huge, and it's for the arts. And they're special. And like I said, I don't want to get into it too much at this point yet. But the
But you
way
said,
the
the way
way
you
I've
did it was you said, hey, Gibson, how'd you like to be associated with a fantastic, very famous art museum in a beautiful city? And you painted a great picture of it
Yeah.
for Gibson. And they are a company who happen to like to do this kind of thing. So it worked.
yeah, and that way it makes their marketing easy.
Yeah. They don't have to go out
I did
looking
it for free.
for the right thing.
Yeah. For
So you-
the cost of their instruments, I did a ton of marketing.
Yep. Yay.
Yes, because it's going to be out there. So that's a great opportunity for them. But like I said, to me, I don't want to. I don't. You have to give them something and say and work that way. If you do this, look at what we could do together.
Right. And you can extrapolate that to just searching for a job instead of give me a job. You can say, here's what I can do for you. Just
Yeah.
figure that's a really super valuable lesson. And that,
Yeah,
who
it's
told you
simple.
that? Leo Castelli taught you that, right?
Yes, he did. And he taught me that, and he also taught you have to really build things up with a lot of like excitement and press, and like have like these events, and some of them closed off. Everybody wants what they can't have, but
Right.
yeah, so there's the little ways to do that. But that's part of the mystique about the this little private gallery opening, and then this party, and who gets to see what, and who gets to be in what, and yada yada yada. It's exciting.
You know, the most exciting thing is to see your artwork on the wonderful Gibson guitar. I used to be
I love it.
I used to
I
be a
think it's
Fender
so
person,
cool.
but now I became a Gibson person, and I particularly the Les Paul
Yeah, this
person.
is very cool. I think they're very cool, and they have been. I just have to say, I'm like humbled. I'm like, wow, they're doing really great things. But would they have done this like you said? It's like if I had not approached them, I don't know. But I have my ways of
You
getting
do.
to them. Like I said, it wasn't about, oh, could you give us a donation for our art and music programs that we have in Boston? Like I didn't do that.
Right. Hey, by the way, how did you know who to contact? Did you just Google them and there was a number there and you called it up and said, I have an idea that can give you a lot
No,
of
I said that, though.
free promo, send me to the right person? Is that what you did?
No, I do. What did I do? So that picture of that first guitar that you were asking me about,
Yeah.
I stuck it on their Instagram page and I said, wouldn't you love this? And that's it. Wouldn't you love this?
And then they called you back?
What are they going to say? Huh? No,
So
I
you
did
just
it.
stuck it on their Instagram page and they contacted you or you
Wouldn't you love this? And then and then they, like after a few times, they DM'd me. They're like, oh, da 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 da. And I said, oh, I heard that you have a program, the Gibson Gives thing. Oh, and at this time, I also went into their website and filled out like the Gibson Gives information. Like, yeah, seriously, here's my paperwork. I'm a 501(c)(3). This is the history of all the things that we've done for the community and students for the last 15 years, the programs that we put on, the shows that we put on, you know, so they like that. So it was like you go under the door.
You're amazing. So
Fine.
you didn't do it overnight. It took a while to work on. You posted the thing multiple times and on the hope that they would
Yeah,
contact you, and they did.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
were you
You know,
working other things at
yeah.
the same time or just Gibson? Were you doing
Yeah.
other things? Other
Oh yeah,
places?
I do other stuff. Well, that was like a big one because the music thing, and that was lately. But I've done several things like that in the past.
Okay. So, once again, 15th anniversary event, ICA, Music, Art, and Fashion. That's June 11 this year, 6 to 10. If you haven't been to anything since COVID, it is, I bet you forgot about life. That happened to me. I forgot what it was like to go to do stuff. I forgot. You know, you do stuff to insulate yourself mentally. You don't want to live during those 3 years. You probably weren't saying, "Oh, I'm missing out." What you did was say, "I don't need to do that stuff." But then when you go out and do stuff, you're like, "Oh, whoa, this is great!" Actually meeting people again, and making relationships. So it's at the ICA, and that's well, you can, if you don't know where it is, you can look it up. Most important, see these guitars. I'm going to let Ruthie go. Ruthie Treadwell. How
you.
can people contact you for whatever they might want to contact you
So
about?
our website is emergeartfoundation.org. emergeartfoundation.org, and all the information about what we do as well as the event is on the website.
Okay. And that's where you can see the example of the guitar, like the one you,
Yeah,
the one
there's an
with,
example of the guitar on there. Yep.
the one
And
with
that's
Raquel on it.
I sent to them. Yep.
Okay.
It worked.
It did.
There's a lesson for everybody.
There is. That's the importance. There were two
Yeah.
important things: getting to this event, but the lessons that have been learned by our guest Ruthie Treadwell that she teaches folks. There are 2 or 3 valuable lessons that we learned today, and I hope you can use this information. I actually probably think I can. So this has been quite long. If anybody knows anybody who's into Gibson guitars, share this broadcast, and I will certainly share it. And thank you very much, Ruthie
Thank you.
Treadwell. Oh, by the way, thanks to John Graham for introducing us.
Yes, John.
Is John involved with this project at all?
Yes, he is. You'll see him on the website too. So it says like, who are we? And it has people that help me, and it's from art, music,
Okay.
and John Graham is on there.
Okay.
He's amazing.
Okay. Yeah, there's another high energy dude.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's a rock
I won't
star.
keep you any longer. I guess I've talked so long because I'm in isolation with COVID and I got nothing else to do.
Aw, feel better,
Yeah.
Bradley J.
I already do feel better. Oh, look who it is John Graham right there. John Graham, we gave you credit. We gave you credit. Which
You better
deserve.
get well fast, because I found an event, John, that's coming up in 2 weeks. So you better get out of that hospital.
All right.
You.
Get well soon, John. And Ruthie, thank you very much and all the best. I know this is going to be a great, great event. And you have yourself a good day.